Hello and a warm welcome back to the channel of nonsense. This is the brand new for 2025 Triumph Tiger Sport 800. And this bike could go one of two ways. It could be a Tiger Sport 660 with slightly more oomph, or it could be a street triple that's a bit more comfortable, grown up and does its tax return early. Which is it? We're going to find out. Yes, personally, I think if you're riding on the road, a 17-inch front wheel is king, which is what this has got. It's designed to be a proper road-going sports touring bike that can do two-up traveling. You can put panniers on it, you can put a top box on it, you can take your other half down to France, and then when you get there, the idea is that you can then terrify her. What the hell? There are some terrifyingly noisy birds up there. But yes, this builds on the Tiger Sport 660, but it's got an all-new 800cc-ish, 798cc engine. It's got 34 horsepower more than the 660 and loads more torque as well. It is £2,000 more. This motorbike costs just under £11,000, but let's find out how it's different to the 660 and whether you should buy one over a Tracer 9. Right, I've grabbed the camera to save you from my moves, but it clearly looks a lot like the Tiger Sport 660, but with these new daytime running lights down there. It looks amazing in cosmic yellow. You can have it in grey, which is the free colour, and then there's Caspian blue, this, and then a kind of darker colour with fluorescent bits on it. They're all 100 quid extra. But anyway, let's talk about the differences. At the front end, you've got high spec Showa forks, which are two-way adjustable. You've got radial calipers, Triumph branded, rather than the axial job that you get on the 660. And you get a different exhaust. You don't have the belly pan exit exhaust. You've got this new one, which you can also swap out from the Krapovich for about £900. But this is a star of the show. It's an all-new 798cc triple, 115 horsepower, 84 newton meters, peak powers at just under 11,000 RPM. It's got a 120-degree normal crank. No T-plane off-roady stuff here. It is a classic smooth, thank you for revving, Triumph triple. Triple throttle bodies as well, rather than the single one that you got on the Tiger Sport 660. The only shame for me is that the engine cases don't really match the rest of the engine. It's a bit of a hodgepodge of colours there. The Brazilians are leaving. And as you might have been able to hear, quick shift up and down is standard, and they're very proud of the mapping for that, and we'll get onto that in the riding bit. Anyway, that engine drinks from an 18.6 litre tank. Theoretically, this should get 60 miles per gallon in normal riding, and therefore about 230 miles of range. So it's got some proper touring legs on it. It's also got some proper touring rubber on it as well. You've got these Michelin Road 5 tyres, and this morning, as you'll see in a minute, at the start of the video, is going to be very, very wet. That's why the bike is filthy, but it's dried up, and those tyres are kind of part of this bike's secret sauce. But let's show you what a 6'3" idiot looks like sat on it. Yes, I'm 6'3", I weigh about 100 kilos, a bit more because I've just eaten quite a lot of butter. 835mm seat height, it's the same as the Tiger Sport 660. And this frame is slightly different from the 660s. They had to do some cutting out essentially to get the bigger throttle bodies for the engine to fit there. So it has been tweaked, but apparently it's got the same stiffness and all the rest of it. But anyway, less yapping, more sitting. Look at that, I'm 6'3", I'm completely flat foot. It's a very approachable bike. Nice reach to the handlebars, you're nice and upright in the breeze. It's an all-day comfortable riding position. We've done about 100 miles this morning, mostly on twisty roads admittedly, but I've not had a single ounce of body problems other than from last night's dinner. You've got normal mirrors there, vibe free. You've got an adjustable screen. If you put it all the way up, 6'3", you'll get buffeted. If you put it all the way down, it's very, very nice clean air. So well done, Triumph. Now, electronics, we should talk about the electronics. It has got Triumph's kind of cheap looking screen. It's just a shame because all the information feels like it's about 6 feet behind the reflective layer of plastic on the front of it. They need to optically bond it to reduce that air gap so it doesn't reflect as much. As it is, it looks cheap, it looks naff. Someone asked Triumph about it at the press conference last night and they said, well, it's kind of the heart of the bike's electrical architecture. I don't care, Triumph. It looks a bit rubbish on an 11-gram bike. I will continue to whinge about it. But yeah, cruise control is standard though. That is good. This one's got heated grips, which are an option. They all get these integrated pannier kind of mounting points. You can get 2 panniers, which can each carry an XL full face helmet, and there's a top box that you can get as well, which can carry 2 side by side. So it's properly kitted out for touring, and you've got a remote preload adjuster down here as well. So yeah, It's got everything you need. It's got cornering ABS, cornering traction control. It's got 3 rider modes. It's got rain, street and sport, and that adjusts the wheel lift. It adjusts the throttle sensitivity obviously as well, and all the rest of it. So that's basically what it is. The key difference is from a spec point of view over the 660, engine about 40% more powerful, way more torquey. The brakes and the suspension is higher spec as well. Now actually, just before we go do the exciting riding stuff, look at this. It's got a proper higher quality rear brake lever than on, from memory, the Tiger Sport 660. I think she had the Trident's one, which was stamped out of, I don't know, old Korean War artillery shells or something. And I like the way the front light reminds me of my dad's old Sprint ST 1050. One thing I forgot to mention, how heavy is it? It's 214 kilos wet, that's 8 kilos more than a Tiger Sport 660. So it is heavier, but it's still 5 to 10 kilos lighter than a Yamaha Tracer 9, which has about 5 more horsepower and about 10 more Newton meters of torque than this does. It is wetter than a perch in a swimming pool. Right, we're doing kind of motorway speeds, and the screen in its highest position does buffet me a bit. I'm 6'3", but if I pop it down, it's really clean air. That's the same as the Tiger Sport 660. That bike had one of the best screens for tall people that I've ever used. I think because it doesn't try and put the air over your head, it ends at your body. So you get wind noise, but it's not buffety, horrible, headache-inducing brain riot. It's good, and this shares that. And this has actually got these extra wind protectors at the side. They're not keeping all the rain off me, but they must be helping a bit. It's a very quiet motorbike at motorway speeds, being a lanky bastard. And rejoice, the Tiger Sport 800 has cruise control as standard. You press the button twice and you've got cruise control. Standard fit. Why can't more people do this? I've been riding this bike for about 20 minutes now. It's in rain mode. Normally I wouldn't bother with rain mode, but Triumph's making a big deal of the fact they've really made a difference between the modes. And we've had rivers across the road. I've had the TC kicking in, accelerating over banding, things like that. It feels very safe, it feels very predictable, and you don't feel the electronics working. They're not there hindering you. So yeah, rain mode on these tyres, these Michelin Road 5s, which are very good in the wet. They're a proper good real world tyre. This thing, I don't want to say feels uncrashable, because I could definitely crash this, but it feels assured and yeah, like a friendly Labrador. It's obviously not going to be a Rottweiler in rain mode. It's going to come and lick your face and keep you safe when your tour's weather goes a bit south. Okay, the rain has thankfully abated a bit, the road's dried out. I'm out of rain mode and I'm into normal mode. Now rain mode, we've not been going at, you know, a fast pace because the roads have been littered with debris and very wet, but I'd say we've been going at about 6/10 sort of pace. And rain mode is still giving you a lovely flat torque curve coming up corners in 3rd gear. That's all you need. Even for the tighter corners, you can just leave it in the 3rd and surf your way out. But now I'm in normal mode, yeah, I'm starting to get a sense of how much more torquey and how much more powerful this 800 lump is than the 660. It's certainly, where that 660 engine sometimes feels like my first triple. This reminds me of a proper street triple. It feels a lot closer to the Tracer 9's thrust than I expected. It has got lovely, lovely mid-range. Easy enough to just leave it in 3rd, as I said, all day, and just come out the corners enjoying the airbox noise. My initial impressions of this bike are, it's incredibly comfortable, it's incredibly easy to ride. The quick shifter and blipper is one of the highlights. That is so smooth. Triumph did make a big deal about this, how they've mapped it for every throttle opening, in every gear, at every road speed. And it does show, it really does show. It is buttery smooth going down and up. It doesn't, however, have the Tracer 9, I think it's the GT++ Pro or something, that has their quick shifter, which means you can do on throttle downshift. So if you're overtaking, you've got it pinned and you need a few gears lower. You can do that on this, but what you can't do is knock it up a few gears off the throttle. So if you're just cruising and you just want to bang it up a few gears, you can't do that on this. We can on a Tracer, but otherwise the quick shifter on this is standout. It is really impressively smooth. Handling, so far as I can tell, having done some twisty roads in the very wet, is very neutral. It's very Triumph. It doesn't tip in with any nastiness. It's just a reasonably fast, measured turn in. No nasty surprises. So when you're tipping into these really wet corners, you've got complete confidence that you're going to be able to hold a line or alter your line if you see something that you don't like in your path, like a frog, an eel, a piece of rubble from the cliff face. And then you've got such progressive torque on the way out that I can tell there's going to be a bit of a top end on this that you don't get on the 660 with its lower rev limit. And that triple noise, if you've never ridden a triple, especially a Triumph triple, this sounds like very few other bikes. It's got a rorty snarl on an open throttle, even if you're not revving it out or going full throttle. It's got character. It's not, say, the character my MT-10's got, where it makes a good noise when you're doing 200 miles an hour. This sounds good all the time at normal legal road speeds. And it's also just got acceleration at normal legal road speeds. Even if you're carrying a gear higher into a corner, look, if I pick up to fourth, it still pulls hard into the back of English biker Dan. Other YouTubers are available. Right, to try and show you what I mean by that quick shifter. Second, first, look, accelerating first, no clutch, super smooth up to second. It didn't want to grab third then for some reason on the quick shifter, but most importantly, that first to second isn't clunky. Quite often on a bike I'll just use the clutch from first to second, even if it's got the latest all single dancing quick shifter Reno. This, you basically don't need a clutch once you've pulled away in the morning until you come to a stop. Yeah, alright. Yeah, mate, it's got some mumbo on it. It's got some beans. So it revs out to 11,500 RPM. But this is a fun bike. This is a fun bike. You might look at it and think, oh, Dad's got a new Tourer. Dad's Tourer can boogie like Pamela Anderson on Dance Hero. This thing is already a great package. The engine is sublime, quick shifter sublime. Triumph didn't need to do anything outrageous with the handling. It just steers with the speed of something with 17-inch front wheel. It's got great brakes. I'm comfortable on it. This is a very sensibly good motorbike with a cheeky side. Okay, as you can see, the sun gods are out. We've just had a quick coffee stop. We've got blue skies, the waterproofs are off, and hopefully we can get on with this. Now, I've just had a question on Instagram while I've been drinking some orange juice. Would you buy this? Is it worth the extra £2,000 over a Tiger Sport 660? Is it just the power? And I can tell you that it is not just the power. This bike already feels much stronger on the brakes, more reassuring, more grown up, and the power is everywhere. So yes, it's more powerful, yes, it's more torquey, but it's not just at the top end. It is absolutely everywhere. It feels, well, faster than I can show you right now. We're still just warming up a bit. Yeah, it's revier. You're not hitting the rev limiter quite as unexpectedly. Yes, 11,500 RPM is still coming around quite quickly, but on the 660 engine you're kind of headbutting it all the time just as the good noise gets going. Feels more grown up. It's just got more expensive cycle parts. The suspension supports the bike better, and I would just say, yeah, it's just more bike all round. That doesn't mean that I'm denigrating the Tiger Sport 660. Still a great bike. This is aimed at slightly more experienced riders than the Tiger Sport 660 and those who want to go 2-up touring, and it's already encouraging me to, well, I want to knob about. I can't at the moment, but this has a naughty streak. You can just tell already from the induction noise. It's just so assured. It's still a Triumph, and I can't get over, well, that we're on wet roads and I'm still having fun. Means if you're out on a tour, you're not going to have to abandon your twisty road route for the day just because it's wet. And I think that's vital. If you're like me and any time away on a motorbike is valuable and hard fought for domestically, you want to enjoy every second of it. You don't want to just suck up a motorway route because it's got a bit rainy. This will make you want to take the twisty way whatever the weather. In my experience anyway, so far, in the hour of riding it, it's a great package. I mean, obviously it's still not the best touring bike in the world. That's a Yamaha MT-10 with a top box and a screen on it. I've proven that on this channel. But if you're actually a sensible person, for 11 grand, I'm not sure what's not to like about this. Hello, Space Golf Ball. So the suspension's not too soft. I was expecting to grab a hand for the front brake and be snorting a line of ants off the floor, but I'm not. And it's very progressive as well. When you let off at the apex, it's not springing up and giving you a nosebleed. It's a two-finger job. It is a two-finger job. I'm not going to make the analogy that I made on my Scrambler 1200X video. I got in trouble with my old high school girlfriend for that. But you can two-finger it all day long until it leaves you someone else with better hair. This is the telling thing is, I ride a lot of bikes. I don't ride many bikes that make me want to go a bit faster in the wet. This does. I want to go a bit faster than this, and normally I'm a massive wetty in the wet. Now we should talk about the Tiger Sport 800's rivals. The key ones, according to Triumph, are the BMW F900 XR. Never ridden one, but I have ridden that engine in a race bike, it was great. And the Yamaha Tracer 9, which is £300 more than this, but then obviously there are loads of mod in that range, and the new 2025 one, if you want the top spec one with the automated manual, matrix LED headlight and radar cruise control, that's nearly £18,000. But the basic Tracer 9, I would thought coming into this launch that it would feel gutsier than this, but Triumph says they've done roll-on tests against it, and this beats it, just, I think. But considering this is 90 cubic centimeters down, oh no, nearly 100 cubic centimeters down on the Tracer 9, it does a bloody good job of feeling as fast as it. It is fast. It is such a nice engine. You get such a nice growl when you come on from a closed throttle through the mid-range. I hope it comes across on video. I'm almost certain it won't. But yeah, it's just got the confidence to rail round these corners. Yes, we're not going at 1,000 miles an hour, but for a touring pace, this is pretty, I would say probably what I'd be doing if it was damp and leafy mid-corner. So far in this video, I've been riding in rain mode and I'm currently in normal mode. I'm going to switch it up, sport mode, tick, closed throttle. Right, so I've been promised great things in sport mode. Oh yeah. Okay. That accelerated quite a lot harder than in normal mode, to the extent I ran a bit deep into that corner, and it was hovering the front off some of those little bumps in the road. So the electronics on this bike are programmed so that you've got different levels of lift control and traction control in each of the modes, so it will allow a little bit of front wheel lift in sport mode apparently. And yeah, that throttle is definitely a darn sight sharper. I need a bit more clear road to really show it off. Look at this. You can see the road sparkling. Hopefully that's sparkly grip stones, not sparkly fall off stones. The kind of gems that your mad aunt goes down to the shopping centre to buy to cure her thrush. Sticks on the road. A little bit of front wheel lift in second gear on the exit of that corner, not loads, but enough to feel the bars go light. That's exciting. Now all the usual Triumph stuff is present and correct. You've got really nice sweet fueling, especially in rain mode, coming out of slow corners in first gear. There's no horrible fluffiness at the bottom end. I got the back end quite out of line there, braking quite hard. That was quite entertaining. Hang on. I think like all Triumphs, this is just a real package. There's no weak link. There's no weak link. The brakes are good, the suspension setup's good, the engine, I'd say it's the star of the show, but the chassis is not far behind. And those brakes and just the tyres and the factory setup is all been done by people that like riding fast on the road. Look at this. Yeah, honestly, the idea of putting a top box on this, I'm a top box pervert, as you know, and coming out here on a holiday, on a trip, to come and explore some great roads that certainly you can't find as many of in the UK that are linked together this well. On something like this, you don't need a 19-inch front wheel, you don't need a 21-inch front wheel, you don't need an adventure bike. This is like the argument I have on my car channel. Everyone buys SUVs, you don't need SUVs, buy an estate. They handle better, they go better, and this is the exact same argument really. 17-inch front, sport touring, yeah boy! Now I've got some vibes high up in the revs, through the bars and second gear, but certainly at a cruise, when you're kind of in sixth gear, drop the revs down, they go away. So they're only really there when you're wringing its neck in second gear on some twisties, so I don't think that's really much of a real world problem. You're focusing on other things other than your tingly digits. You're thinking, my brain is enjoying this amount of speed and control and motorcycling fun. The more I ride the Tiger Sport 800, the more I think this is probably a better bike for most people than a Tiger 900. I see a lot of Tiger 900s being ridden on the road, which is fine, but this is just better set up for scratching, and I think it's just probably a better all-round bike for commuting and just day-to-day road riding. So yes, Triumph might have shot yourself in the foot a bit here. Unless you're going to go off-road, this would be my pick, which I guess is the point of this bike, right? Roll through here, roll through there, set fire to your underwear. Now you might be watching this thinking, Tim, you bald knob, is 115 horsepower in a bike that weighs, where is 214, whatever I said, kilograms, enough for having fun? And it is, it really is, and it's just, as I've said already about a million times, it's the way it delivers that power. It can be quite shocking in sport mode at the corner exit. Look at that. That is a magnificent piece of tarmac. Let's go and fall off on it. Right, so we've just done 150 miles on the new Triumph Tiger Sport 800, and to sum up, it's got very few weaknesses, very few flaws. The things I could quibble about are that TFT dash. Triumph, you need to replace it. It's too reflecty, it's too shiny, it looks too cheap to be on an 11 grand bike. I've whinged about it before and I'll whinge about it again. And secondly, really, it's just the suspension in the faster stuff. Got a little bit unsettled, you had to wait for it to calm down before you pitched into a corner. I'm sure you could probably dial that out, but otherwise, it's a really, really good road bike. If you like riding fast, if you like touring, it is gonna tick most of your boxes. It's got enough power to have fun. Its handling is really, really good. It's really precise. You can put it exactly where you want it to. And it just soaks everything up. The engine note is really characterful, even on a part throttle coming out of corners, and then it sounds great when you rev it out. So yeah, I think it's a great do-it-all touring bike. I'm comfortable, my bum has not been sore today, even after doing lots of fairly fast miles. Fuel economy, you don't want to know what I've been getting, it's about 45 mpg, not the 60 it's been claimed, but we've been on it all day. So yeah, I'm very impressed, it is comfortable. It's a slightly unfashionable bike, I guess, with a 17-inch front wheel, and that's really the job Triumph has on its hands, to convince buyers they don't need an adventure bike for the road. This will do the job better. Is it better than the Tracer 9? Well, I've not ridden the new Tracer 9 because it's not out yet, but the chassis is more sorted than the Tracer 9. It feels a smaller, lighter bike, even though it is a bit lighter. It's not massively lighter, but it does just feel less substantial and less bulky and less intimidating to ride as well. So well done, Triumph, in turning it from a Tiger Sport 660 into an 800. You've kind of made it the bike that I've always wanted you to make. Now do a 1200 version. Anyway, thank you for watching this. If you've liked it, please hit like, subscribe to the channel. I can barely get my words out. I need a beer, but I've got to edit this and stick it up. Go down to the comments and leave me the Triumph English word for the wheelie control's a bit restrictive, because that's my other whinge as well. You have to turn TC fully off to do anything other than that. But whatever, that's not a grown-up whinge, is it? Goodbye, I'm tired, can you tell? And my camera's knackered, so this is on an iPhone. Sorry if the quality's rubbish.